let's just take them one at a time because there's a lot to talk about with these movies.
I don't know. Oh, like, see, like, I don't mind Mater. I think Mater's kind of fun and, like, goofy and, whatever. Like, I don't like necessarily Larry the Cable Guy.
No.
But I like Mater. He's like this wholesome little character who is, like, small town, but heart of gold kind of thing. Like, that's who he's supposed to be. And I dig it. I'm like, that's fine. He's cute. I like the little Italian guy, too.
Luigi?
Yeah. He's cute. He's real cute. And... Okay. Go ahead.
You want me to go?
Go.
The first movie is one of the biggest regrets of my life. I saw this movie with one of, like, my first real summers of my life where I was like, wow, I can actually, like, go do things. I have spare time. I can hang out with Tia. Do you remember Whitney at all?
Yeah.
Briefly? I mean, you met her, like, one time.
Yeah.
Like, all this is great. We're gonna go see Cars. And that was the moment where I was like, did I really just spend 2 hours with these people? Like, with Whitney and Tia and my dad. Like, doing, like, a family thing. I was like, did we really just spend 2 hours watching this? We could have been doing anything else. And that was the early benchmark of little baby Caleb starting to really value his time. Because really and truly, like, the first movie is not, like, offensively bad.
No,
it doesn't do anything.
Cute.
It's cute. It's fine. But all in all, I'm like, I have seen this movie 80 million times before. Where the hot-headed, cocky, smarmy protagonist is brought down to remember who he really is with some good old-fashioned elbow grease and just hard labor. And it's like, is that all this? Because when they sentence him or whatever,
sure,
to repave the road, I was like, am I just gonna watch exactly the movie that I think I'm gonna watch? And it turns out to literally take no chances and is exactly what I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah.
Which for me makes it an okay movie. It's not bad because it doesn't do anything outright stupid or
and it's got some cute characters.
It's not that it doesn't make sense either, although I have to wonder where all the people are in this world. But if you just turn a blind eye to the creepy idea that there are no more humans and they've been replaced with sentient cars, I think it's an okay movie.
Yeah.
The second one can jump off a cliff.
Well, they kill a car. They that car dies.
If they're even alive. But yeah, I know what you mean.
He gets crushed.
It's a thing with a human face and it's crushed.
Yeah.
The second one took a long time for me to even give it a shot, blatantly just because of the bidet joke in the trailers with Mater.
Yeah, I only saw it once.
It just struck me as just xenophobic enough that no one would pay it any mind. But I remember just being like, is the joke just that other cultures do things differently? I don't know what I'm supposed to be laughing at here.
Yeah,
I also have a harder time than you do separating Larry the Cable Guy from Mater. Because to me, I just see Larry the Cable Guy.
See, I never watched any Larry the Cable Guy, and that's probably why I have an easier time, because I didn't watch him on any of his TV shows or any of that stuff. So
well, my mom's side of the family has bonds with the blue collar comedy boys a lot, so wasn't a whole lot of choice.
Yes, I didn't watch any of that.
If I wanted to hang out with, especially being younger, you don't get control of the remote.
Yeah.
It's not your choice.
Yeah.
You just kind of have to go along with it, so yeah.
Yeah, see, I never watched any
Delta
of the...
Farce.
Yeah, none of that.
Oh, boy.
None of that. Yeah, so for me,
Thank God.
It was the character, not...
That makes sense.
Not Larry the Cable Guy.
How do you feel about the second one?
I only saw it once, and I saw it over a Christmas break or something. So I didn't even see it in theaters. And then I remember watching it, and that car gets smashed, and you think okay, well it's gonna come back, it'll be fine, and then that car never comes back, and you're like, oh my God, they killed that character. Whoa.
That guy back there might really be dead. If someone in the comments knows what movie I was just quoting, you
you win.
You win a
Gold
subscription,
star.
I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So I would say the second one is okay.
Yeah.
I don't really remember it all that well, if I'm being honest.
Where would you put the first one?
The first one I would say is good.
Yeah.
It's good.
Is it better than Toy Story 3?
No.
All right, well, I'm going to put it right here then. Monsters University.
It was okay. It was okay.
I feel like the same about Monsters Incorporated, except the humor
Level dropped way down.
That felt like a
sequel
movie to make money.
Yeah, like it was cute seeing them as like kids.
Yeah.
Like that was cute, and I was babies, but cute. But like I didn't necessarily, and it kind of takes away from Monsters Inc.
That's my feeling ultimately.
I feel like it takes away from like all like the lessons and stuff that they learn and everything that Mike and Sully and everybody goes through in the first one. It's like, well, but if they kind of already learned this lesson in college, why are we doing it? Why did we have to learn it again?
Yeah.
And,
shouldn't they have already known?
Mm-hmm.
It kind of reminds me of Finn from the new Star Wars movies, which I know everybody's got opinions about the new Star Wars movies, but it always frustrated me that in the second movie specifically, they go to Finn and go, "Oh man, isn't war terrible?" And that's supposed to be his whole arc. I'm like, he was stolen and then appropriated into believing that war was his only purpose, and then it was fine. I think he knows that war is bad. Why are we doing this again? Yeah. So yeah, that always bothered me.
Yeah.
But as
I didn't
it stands,
like making like the Dean or whatever, the dragon lady, like she's a bad guy or
it's a college movie.
I was like,
the Dean has to be a bad guy. Yeah, we didn't need a bad guy at all. So Monsters University goes.
It was okay.
Yeah.
I think it's okay. I wouldn't say it's like holistically bad because like there's some mild entertainment in it, but
Is
it was
better
okay.
or worse than Cars 2?
I think it's better than
Me
Cars 2.
So where's Finding Nemo for you? See, that's a better road trip movie than Toy Story 4.
I think Finding Nemo goes in great. I don't think I would quite put it in timeless, and my reasoning is just because, like, okay, so the first time that I went and saw Finding Nemo, I saw it with my brother, and in our little teeny tiny theater in my hometown, where there are 2 theaters inside of that building.
It's hard to say 3 people.
And well, there weren't a lot of people either, but I remember sitting there, and the mom dies, and I looked at my brother, and I was like, "What is happening? Like, what are we watching? Isn't this a kids movie?" And so I remember sitting and watching it the first time, and I was just like, I don't know if I like this. I don't know if I like this movie. And then I remember watching it like for a second and third time even, and being like, okay, this movie is pretty great. Like, this is funny, and I love Dory, and I love the little kids. He touched the butt. And I love those, and I love the other fish in the tank, Bloat, and everybody, and my bubbles. Like, everyone said that for days and days and weeks, months after this movie.
Yeah, so that's my issue with the movie, is it's unfair because it's not an issue with the movie. It's a very quotable movie. But I kind of have a Monty Python and the Holy Grail kind of thing with this movie where everyone was quoting it
forever
so much. If I never hear that line ever again in my life,
this is a children's channel.
I get the one. And I'm using it for Finding Nemo. Everyone quotes this movie so much that it got to the point where I had to stop. I actually would say I don't want to watch Finding Nemo because it would bother me because I had already heard everything. It's like when you see the same trailer over and over and you're like, the joke's not funny anymore.
Yeah.
Same thing with Monty Python, same thing with Finding Nemo. But if my vote is going to go off of my first impression of the movie. I just had to get that out there. My first impression of the movie was that it was good. And it did make me turn over to my dad and say, "I love you, Dad."
Aww, yeah, you love your dad.
Yeah, I love my dad.
Caleb loves his dad.
Shut up. And also, like, and this shows a stark contrast in our personalities, because when the mom died in the opening, I got more interested in the movie.
Oh my god.
So I think that it's good. You want to put it in great?
I would put it in great.
You can put it in great. I can live with
I
that.
really like it.
I have.
I just watched it not that long ago.
You did.
I did.
Twice.
I didn't watch it twice.
Not in a row.
No.
But there were 2 times. Where does it go on here?
Put it after Monsters Inc.
Okay. Now we have Finding Dory.
I've only seen Finding Dory one time. Disney and Pixar would have been remiss if they didn't make this movie because Dory was the
So
new hotness.
marketable.
I seeing Baby Dory again. Baby's cute. Anything baby with big eyes, I'm gonna be like, oh. And they were right, and I did, and it was cute.
Big old Disney eyes.
Yeah, big old Disney eyes. You can't go wrong. It's a cute movie. It had some humorous moments, and I would put this movie in good.
Okay.
It was good.
Soul. This will be interesting.
Okay, I did really like Soul.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was a really cute movie. There were things that I wished we would have seen more of.
Yeah.
I did like Soul a lot. I thought the cat was very cute. In particular.
I really didn't foresee him being in the cat.
Yeah, but I think like what I because it was just one tiny moment, but it was so funny when he goes into the cat, and then you see the belt, the conveyor belt, and it's just got the teeny cat soul sitting on it, and this little cat soul's like meow, and you're like, oh god, save the cat.
Arguably, Soul is probably the least kid-friendly movie on this whole, and not because it's inappropriate or violent, but it might just be like a little out of
like a small child's grasp.
Yeah.
It has enough cute stuff in it that kids will still enjoy it.
The colors and the soft design.
And he's
for
a cat, and that's cute.
And cats are cute.
I think really this was for the adults in the audience taking their child.
Yeah.
Because there's still stuff that the kids will enjoy, but it's it deals with death. It deals with not fulfilling your dreams. It deals with accepting where
Crossing
you're
over,
going,
and
what happens or what may happen, and
without
accepting
offending
that.
anybody.
Yeah. I don't know. It was not what I expected. I don't know what I expected necessarily, but it's not what I expected.
Yeah.
But I really liked it.
So where does
I would put this movie as good as well.
Yeah. Where on the line does it go?
I would put it before The Good Dinosaur, but after A Bug's Life.
Before.
Yeah.
Brave.
I love Brave.
Okay.
I'm biased.
Yeah, you are kind of biased. I didn't even realize that. All right, well, for an unbiased take, and this might land me in some hot water, I think Brave is good.
I really
And then that's the end of how I feel.
And that's the end of it.
I think that it starts out super strong.
Mm-hmm.
I think it has a really solid introduction to your lead.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely has, like, for some people who are afraid of how small their penises are, they will be uncomfortable with her being so girl tough power.
Yeah. I think because what led her to making the decisions is
a lot.
her mom's a lot, and
Mom's a lot.
and that's the thing that I really like about this movie is because you don't, in Disney in general, you don't get a lot of mother-daughter stories, and a lot of the Disney movies, the moms are dead. And a lot of the times it's just dad or zero parents altogether.
Mm-hmm.
And so you don't get a lot of mother-daughter stories, and I really liked seeing the mother-daughter story because it's the mother-daughter dynamic. I have a great relationship with my mom. I'm lucky because my mom and I have always had a pretty solid relationship.
Some people are
not that lucky.
Yeah.
And I think this movie does a good job of you get kind of the best of both worlds. Clearly she loves her mother.
Yeah.
And she wants to do right by both of her parents, but she butts heads with her mom because she wants to be something else, and her mom wants the best for her but doesn't necessarily understand what her daughter wants out of life.
Yeah.
And so Merida makes a choice based off of the emotions she's feeling at the time, and she is a kid still. She makes an emotional, rushed choice, and to try to help her mom make her mom understand. And unfortunately, obviously, something has to go awry because it's a movie.
Yeah.
And then she has to deal with the consequences. But I don't think that takes away from her, like, badassery, if you will. I think it shows, like, you can be this strong and, like, outgoing and tomboy, but also wearing dresses, whatever. You can be both of these things. Mm-hmm. But, like, bravery comes in different forms. There's the braveness of fighting for what you want and what you believe in. And there's the braveness of fighting for your family and fighting for a connection and a relationship. That's why I really like this movie, because I think that that's what it does. I don't think it's necessarily like, oh, she's an emotional girl, oh god. I think it's, again, Pixar doing that thing where it's like, it's okay to have these emotions as long as later on you can deal with how you express those and come back and talk about it and move forward and be better for it.
Sure, I don't mean that it's taking away from her badassery. I just mean her first decision to win her own hands, because she's going to be married off.
Which is cool.
That was a rash decision.
Yeah.
But it proved a point, and she ultimately got what she wanted. Mm-hmm. Next time she makes a rash decision, does not work out the way that it wanted to, and has consequences to it. Whereas her previous one, again, she made her point. Like, she got what she needed.
It still had consequences. They're just different.
Yeah, it's just different. Yeah.
And I'm just biased also because she is a redheaded, curly-haired protagonist, and I think
a lot of curls to that girl.
Yeah.
So where does Brave go?
For me, I would put it in great, personally.
Where does it go on great?
I would put it right there.
Done.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we have Inside Out, and everybody needs to get handkerchiefs, tissues.
I think Inside Out is timeless. I think they did a great job.
I have no objection whatsoever. I actually might even argue that it goes here.
Okay, yeah, I can live with that.
Because the emotions that movie deals with, and you can't say that the emotional content is not the point of the movie, because they are literally characters in the movie.
Yeah. What I think I really appreciated was hearing stories about how there were kids out there who saw this movie and, came to some kind of a realization, big or small, that they were like, oh,
that's how I'm feeling.
That's how I'm feeling. Like, when I feel upset, then that's like feel. Sadness. Yeah. Or, like, when I'm, like, happy, but I'm also, I also cry a little bit. Like, maybe that's when joy and sadness are coming together. And, and they kind of learned how to flush those emotions out. And also because I just like the fact that this movie says it's okay to have more than one emotion.
Yeah.
And you can have more than one emotion at one time.
I cannot believe that I didn't see that that's where the movie was going. I have predicted movie endings based on the poster before. And yet it was a complete shock to me somehow still. That's how engrossed I was in the movie. Mm-hmm. That when they get to the point of sometimes your memories and your feelings of things are conflicting and mixed, and there's a lot of different things going on at once. Mm-hmm. When they finally came to that revelation, it just hit me so hard. Like, am I an idiot for not seeing? Because they laid the groundwork early. Yeah. It didn't feel unnatural or like it wasn't like a plot twist in the movie. It was just a natural evolution into the third arc, or third act. And it still caught me off guard. Yeah. My whole audience, Tia included, was sobbing throughout this movie.
Yeah.
Inside Out, like, even if I try it as best I can to look at a movie as just a piece, as just a thing that was presented to me to judge. Mm-hmm. And even when I look at it at like that, I'm still like, damn, I don't know if there's anything wrong with Inside Out.
I really liked it. It was one of those movies where I was like, I could watch this at any time. I will still like it. I will enjoy it.
I don't know if I could, just because it still affects me. I have moved when I wasn't, as a kid, when I wasn't ready to.
Mm-hmm.
So that movie, like, also hit kind of hard, and I would have to be ready to watch it.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I agree. I mean, I was the one that I wanted to put it right here.
Like it was well done. It was and it was a very creative idea.
I cannot believe that I was emotionally invested in the
Bing
character
Bong.
named Bing Bong.
With his little hat.
All right, now let's talk about Luca if we have to.
Luca was okay.
I would even be tempted to say bad, but
Just
because it was so unmemorable.
Yeah, it was,
I can't tell you anything that happened in that movie aside from
the race.
no, I was gonna say, what's that quote that he keep? Oh my god, I can't even think of it. No, it was something Bruno.
I don't know, but Encanto was perfect. Luca was okay. It was. I thought it was gonna be so much more than what it was, which is
I kept
why
waiting
it's
for the movie to
unfortunate.
start, and it just never did.
I wished we would have. One, I wish we would have seen more of them as the sea monsters, because they were cool as the sea monsters.
Yeah.
I get what it's supposed to be. It's like Little Mermaid type of thing. He comes out onto land. He wants to be different, part of your world. You know, like, I get it, but. Yeah, I don't know. I wanted to see more of the underwater stuff because it was super cool.
I've seen it compared to, like, oh, well, it's supposed to be like Kiki's Delivery Service. It's just like a slice of life kind of thing. I was like, yeah, but there are other problems going on. I can name a dozen other movies that aren't really about anything that are more interesting, but Luca just never really seemed to... I thought it was going to start to take off when they introduced the unnecessary bully character.
Yeah.
But even then, I found myself still kind of not super engaged.
It was just like, I don't know, it didn't have... The story was very, very minimal, like... Which can be fine.
Yeah, Kiki's Delivery Service is almost no story.
I love Kiki.
Totoro really doesn't have a
love
story.
Totoro.
But there's other stuff going on in those movies.
But like this, it was
still...
so minimal, and like just the brief inserts of like a random joke here and there, and like don't get me wrong, that cat was my favorite part of the movie. Yeah. He was so funny and so like. Sassy and wonderful. Yeah, he was a cat. He was great. And I was like, oh, that cat knows that they're fish and he wants to eat them. That's pretty good.
That was good.
I like that.
Yeah. There wasn't enough of that in the movie, though.
No. I wish, I don't know. Because, you know, they had the big race and it was, you know, friendship and building friendship. And that's nice.
The liar revealed thing.
Yeah, and then no one really cares because, surprise, there's like 5 other people living among them who are also sea monsters. Who would have thought?
I've even, like, knowing the movie is leading up to a liar revealed plot, there have even been times where I've excused it. Like, watching Rango for the first time, I remember being like, I know where this is going. But everyone is so enjoyable, and there's a lot of good jokes littered throughout it that I just kind of forgot.
Like, this is fun. I like this.
Yeah. Luca never aspired to that.
No.
It never tried to do anything to kind of keep you guessing.
The friend of Luca's it was like jealous, and then some people were saying, oh well, it's because he has a crush on him, and I was like, that's the thing about the Disney movies. I'm like, okay, fine, that's fine. If it's because he has a crush on him, then make it be the crush on him. That's
just
fine. Just say it. Just do it. But that was never said, and so all it really felt like was friendship jealousy. Like, oh, he made another friend, and I'm mad about it. And it's because, like, he's lonely because he has had to live without his dad, and I get that, and that's all very sad, but it was not necessarily necessary, and it could have just been this really fun movie about friendship and building trust, and, like, it had all the elements there. They were there. They just didn't really come together to build the story, because like then the race happened, and the race was like the whole point of the movie that they were building up to, and I was like, okay, they won the race, and then he got exposed at the end of the race, so I was kind of like, all right, well, there we did it, and And then he goes to school, and I'm like, okay, that's nice, but like, there's, again, it's not necessarily necessary. Like, it's like they had all these different pieces, and they didn't know which story to choose from, so that just like none of them really happened.
Which leads to the movie not feeling like it ever started.
Yeah.
That's why I'm tempted. That's why I almost want to just veto and put it in bad, because when you're not even memorable, like, is that worse than being so bad that it's, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I was like, I mean, I remember what happened. It was just because not a lot happened.
That's fair. So Onward.
Onward was also okay.
I would put Onward a little higher than Luca.
Maybe in good.
You could even put it on the okay meter.
I don't know. I mean, I liked Onward just fine.
Yeah.
I wish that we got to see more of the magical creatures, because that was like the whole thing.
Yeah.
It was like, it had a little more emotional depth than like Luca did.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would agree with you that if it could definitely go above Luca, and I would even put it above Cars, just because of like the emotional trauma that this family had to deal with.
Yeah.
And their overall goal in the movie.
Yeah. I wish it was a little funnier.
Nice. It was kind of like it's kind of on that same level of it's similar to like A Good Dinosaur, where it's kind of sad. Like, pretty much the whole time it's a little sad.
And that's not for me, that's not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing.
It's just that I need more than one emotion in a movie to carry me the whole way through.
No. Yeah.
I feel right?
Yeah.
All right, now we're getting to, we're gonna end on a high note, because we got to wrap this up. We got Ratatouille next.
I love Ratatouille.
I would put it in timeless.
Yeah, that's fine. I love Ratatouille. It is so stinking cute.
I had such a miffed response the first, like, halfway through the movie, where I was kind of like, I don't know what we're, not in a like, I don't know where we're going, but in like a, what is this movie gonna be? I don't know what we're like, what is the goal? So we're just gonna be a good chef at the end? Like, maybe he'll prove to his rat family that
he's a good chef.
That you can eat food better than the way you're eating
garbage,
it.
Yeah.
What a life lesson to walk away from. And then by the end, I was like, oh my god, I'm so sorry that I jumped to conclusions with this movie.
This movie. It's so good. It's so cute.
Just picking, like, whether it's cook. I mean, it is about cooking.
It is about cooking.
But, like, really and truly, the cooking outline, the concept, it's just something to frame the movie's message on. It could really be anything. It's whatever drives you.
Yes. It's your dream.
Whatever makes you feel the way Remy does when he's tasting food.
Yeah.
I love when he's like experimenting
and all the
things
colors
and the colors.
And
I'm kind of like we're getting like synesthesia a little bit, like with going on.
Yeah.
With what I'm seeing, it was interesting. I also like that there was a point where I was like, oh no, the movie's gonna get really generic. When they're like, oh my god, is he Gustav's son? We got to get a blood test. I was like, oh no, that's what the rest of this movie's gonna be, is just proving who has the rights to the restaurant. And they resolved it in 4 minutes.
Yeah.
They were done. They were like, no.
We
just need to get this villain-ish character out of here.
Kind of out of the way, yeah.
I was like, thank God, because I don't know how much longer I could sit here and watch this little bumbling Italian Danny DeVito look-alike running around scheming.
And I loved at the end when the food critic tastes the ratatouille and like the joy on his face, and it's like you said, it's whatever you love the most,
whatever
and
you do,
being able to share your love of whatever it is and affect someone else in a positive way like that. I'm gonna cry. That movie is so good.
Oh, I love Anton because he's my perfect example of like, there is a difference between a villain and an antagonist. He is not a villain, especially because he's not in the movie until like the last 20, 30 minutes of it, like the last act almost. Yeah. But he also, and they do stress that like, if we don't impress this guy, that could be the end of us. But he's not malicious. He's not evil. he's rough around the edges, and he's certainly cranky.
He's opinionated.
He is a human being.
Yeah.
And his little monologue at the end is one of my favorite, especially since I've critiqued things before. Like I've written reviews before. The whole like spiel about like, yeah, it's easier to critique something, especially for a laugh, than it is to create something, and I acknowledge that. It's not a bad thing. I was like, oh, he's.
I think that's so nice.
He's telling me it's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay to be a critical person. Man.
It's a great movie.
Up.
I love Remy. I love Up. Up is a classic. I'm sorry. Up is timeless. Like,
where does it go?
That's the
harder part.
They're all equal at this point. I don't even know.
Yeah, the whole timeless line is really kind of.
This movie is so friggin' wholesome, and I don't know, and I love Russell, and there's so much good humor in it, and like at the very beginning too, when Carl is little and he's got his little goggles and he's running and he hits the tree.
I also really appreciate that in the whole beginning, like, he doesn't talk. She just kind of sees something that she likes in him, and you see them growing up together, and you could kind of see how, like, she does bring it out of him. And then the first words we really, like, hear him saying is when, you know, he's having a hard time.
As an old man.
Yeah, as an old man who kind of feels alone. Like, it paints a really good picture of what an entire person's lifespan has been at the beginning of a movie.
Yeah.
A lesser movie would have just had, like, you know, had some, like, he checks a message and there's someone like, oh, I know it's been hard since blah, 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 blah. Just to get it out of the way. And it would have gotten the point across, but you wouldn't have felt any kind of way about it.
Yeah, and all of the things that they went through as kids, as a couple, as a married couple, you know, and then at the end of her life, and it's like it, you know, it deals with something very difficult that a lot of people have to deal with or will deal with at some point, whether it's a spouse or just someone you're very close to, you know, like, and you know how it might affect you. And so I don't know, I think seeing that, and then him finally being able to find someone who is very much like his wife when she was little. Yeah. Who is loving and adventurous and wants to help and has just the biggest heart, and the good and you want the best for that person, and being able to like form a relationship and find a little piece of himself that he had lost.
Can we also talk about some of the jokes in the movie and how good they are? When I knew it was coming, I knew that the evil minion leader character was gonna have a high-pitched squeaky voice, because that's just what you do. But boy, when you hear it, it manages to get you. It just manages to hit you right in the funny bone.
What's wrong with your voice?
Still so good. And
I love Doug and Kevin.
They also murder a man. Like, well, not murder, but a guy does blatantly die in the movie. Like, they don't hold back.
And I love just like the whole adventure they go on, and everything is just great, and it's colorful and wonderful, and you know, and then Russell gets to have, you know, this male influence in his life again, and you know,
Carl gets to go out and
Carl
live
gets to have an adventure, and have something to look forward to. And I think it's just lovely, and if you haven't watched it, you really should.
And then to round things out, we have our newest addition to the Pixar family. We have Turning Red.
This movie is great.
You wanted to talk about mother-daughter relationships. How does this hold up against Brave in terms of the mother-daughter relationship?
I think this is a really good. Well, okay, so I guess this movie is actually based off of a relationship, a real mother and daughter relationship.
Yeah, I can believe
the
that.
creator, and like,
oh, okay.
like yeah, like they.
I was gonna say, I was like, I bet there's tons of families out there that watch this and identify.
But like, legitimately, like, I guess and you know, if this is wrong, somebody say so. But I was told that the creator's mom did actually show up to school.
Really?
Like that, yeah,
That's
and
good.
did very similar things to what you're seeing in the movie.
Great.
And so I was like, I mean, it's a very excellent, representation of a mother-daughter relationship where it's, you know, you have mom who is
A lot,
but like mother-daughter, especially when they're younger, they're besties. And they do everything together, and daughter wants nothing more than to be the light in her mom's eyes and be the good daughter. Relatable. And then I don't care what anyone, and I'll just blatantly say it, they're wrong if they think that this movie is inappropriate for kids. You're wrong.
How many, like, we just talked about Finding Nemo where a parent dies in the opening.
Yeah.
Murdered, devoured, and turned into fish poo.
Yeah, like this
movie is
anyone
fine.
who says that this movie is inappropriate for kids is wrong. You are wrong. And
There's nothing wrong with it.
there's nothing wrong with this movie, and in fact, like,
Because there's a
let me
tampon
tell
on
you-
screen
yeah,
that
yeah.
they don't use for gross out humor.
yeah, and let me tell you, as a girl, if I would have had a movie like this at that age when I was a
to look
tween,
at.
when I was 12, 13 years old to watch, I would have been like, oh my gosh, I feel so much better. Like, oh, I'm not weird. Like, this happens to more than just me.
Yeah, I would have felt like I may not have been
a little
you know,
girl
going through the same body changes.
Yes.
But your man still went through puberty, and boy, do you feel like a freak weirdo
yes,
still.
And you feel like an outcast, and you're not, and like,
and you don't have anybody to talk
surprise,
to.
everyone's going through it, and you just don't know.
Still, you feel like you can't talk to anybody.
Yeah.
Now, even outside of like
Of that message.
worldly impact, like just looking at it as a piece, I think Turning Red is an improvement on Brave. Not that Brave is bad. I do like Brave.
I love
But
Brave,
I think that all the sum of the parts of Turning Red gel and mesh just a little bit better than in Brave. And maybe that's a little bit of bias because it takes place during an era that I really identify with during the 2000s.
Sure, yeah.
Not in an aggressively, not like Stranger Things does with the 80s, where they're just all over the
80s,
place, where
yeah.
they're basically spray painting the 80s into your eyeballs. This feels much more natural, and you feel like it's a world that you lived in once. And surprise, you
We
did.
did.
Yeah. I thought all the friend characters were perfect,
They were
especially
so
being in the
nice.
2000s. That
Yeah.
one girl that really obviously likes Twilight.
Yes.
It didn't feel like a joke. It just
No,
felt
she
like
really
a person
liked
that
it.
liked it, but not in like that wasn't her only identity either.
No,
it was
but, like,
just
she
to
just-
set the tone of like
Yeah.
that's what this person is.
Yeah, she likes that thing.
And then as you see her react to the situations they're in, and this goes for all of them, you see all the situations they're in, they all react to it differently. They all got their own personalities. Family's the same way.
Yep.
They've all got their different responses to things. Dad's the real MVP.
Oh,
Good job, Dad.
good job, Dad.
Yep. And that's the other thing too. Is I'm kind of like, I think this movie also works for adults.
Yeah.
Because it really would make you go like, am I checking in with my kid enough?
Right.
Do they know it's okay to talk to me about
yeah.
stuff? Because really at the end of the movie, the point is like, you know, if you just talk things out, and it doesn't make the rest of the movie frustrating.
No.
But the moral is just like, see how good it is to just talk things out sometimes.
And how you might not know what someone is going through until you do,
Yeah.
or why they're reacting the
Just
way they're
ask.
reacting until you actually
Just
talk
ask.
to them.
Yeah, it always works. It pays
Yeah.
off. And the movie's also really funny.
It is. It's so funny.
If we're talking about improvements on Brave, I remember a couple of jokes here and there, but they're mostly revolving around the younger brothers.
yeah, the little boys.
Turning Red has a lot of
Excellent
good,
jokes.
well-timed jokes
Yes,
to it.
This movie was great. Like,
Yeah.
it did so many good things. Like, I loved that she draws pictures of her and her crush, and because like maybe
her nerd fiction.
Yes, it's amazing.
Like Tina's friend fiction.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because like maybe every girl didn't, draw pictures. Some did, but every girl at least drew little hearts and wrote initials all over their binder or in notes or whatever. Like every person who's had a crush has done something like that, and at that age, and as like, and for the adults who are like, that's not like, yes it is, yes it is,
shut up,
yes it is,
it 100%
and
is.
I was like, maybe you don't remember doing it, but you did it, and trust me, ask your mom or ask your sister, ask your brother, ask your sibling, ask your friend from back then.
I did it.
Like, yeah, every person, every child drew a picture or a note or scribbled a name or a heart or or little relatable. Smiley faces. Yeah, any of that. I loved the boy band, Four Town.
All right, so where does Turning Red go?
I honestly, I'm between putting it into great and timeless, and I would say that it could work its way because it just came out. But I could say that it could work its way up into timeless just because of the goodness that kids can get from it, regardless of the fact that it's an adorable giant red panda and you get magic and fun and jokes out of it. The sheer relatability, I think, could prove it to be a timeless movie.
I actually agree. Yeah, and also again, if I just take a step. Well, maybe not back, but a step forward and just look at it as a thing. It really, each piece is kind of perfectly placed, and it reminds me of a chef that would make the perfect looking. I don't know, every little tiny intricate piece is there and adds up to a bigger thing.
Yeah. And I still remember, we watched this movie, it's been a couple of weeks now, and I still remember jokes in this movie, and it's so funny.
You just remember the butt bouncing.
It's so funny. I don't care what anyone says. That is so funny.
Where would it go?
I don't know. Honestly,
I mean, timeless is kind of all the same. I'll just put it anywhere.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there's our tier list. Very low amount of bad movies. Because Pixar really doesn't do a lot of bad movies.
No, Pixar is usually pretty spot on.
Yeah.
I don't know. I love Pixar.
Yeah. Everybody loves Pixar.
I really like Pixar.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. You can feel free to love it or hate it. I think it's a pretty good list.
Yeah.
But thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any other ideas or any tier lists you'd like to see us do, shoot them in the comments. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and check out my Instagram and my Facebook page. It was nice to see all of you. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you soon.